Okay. Turn your lights on. Okay, I call the regular town board meeting, June 12th, 2018 to order. Please rise, we'll pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Okay, the first order of business is minutes. We got 4 of them. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the May 8th, 2018 regular town board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Second one is I make a motion to approve the minutes of the May 8th, 2018 public hearing on the search warrant. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. The next one is I make a motion to approve the minutes of the May 8th, 2018 public hearing on prohibited activities. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Then I make a motion to approve the minutes of the June 5th, 2018 bid opening for the SAM grant. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Now we get down into public discussions. Anyone want to do public discussion on town board agenda items? Okay, then we'll skip that.
Can I talk about anything that was on
No.
the meeting last week?
No, what's on the agenda? Whatever on the agenda, we can talk about now.
I'm talking about timber, okay?
Timber? Timber's not on the agenda.
That's for the end of the meeting.
Do it at the end then.
Okay. I'm gonna go back home now.
Okay, the next item then is supervisor's comments. I got a potpourri of things here. One of them is, the town hall offices, court, highway department, and library will be closed for 4th of July holiday, Wednesday, July 4th. The town's assessment equalization rate is 100% thanks to our assessor, Teresa Stegner. Thanks are given to the Friendship Garden Club for the placement of the World War I 100th anniversary wreaths on the door of the Town Hall complex buildings. You've probably seen it as you came in. The annual town senior picnic will be held on Wednesday, July 11th at noon on the Wallace Center lawn at the FDR National Site south of Hyde Park. Reminder postcards are being sent out. In fact, I got mine today in the mail, so you probably all will be getting them very shortly. To make your reservations for this free picnic for seniors, call the Office for the Aging at 845-486-2555, and they would like reservations done by June 27th. So that's the end of supervisor's comments. Now we hop into planning board.
The May 15th meeting was canceled due to lack of a quorum. Meeting on June 5th, there were 2 items on the agenda, both of which required lengthy discussions. The first one, an applicant on Schultz Hill Road who had been in a number of times over the course of the past year or so to do a 4-lot subdivision, came in with a request for ground-mounted solar panel. There was a lengthy discussion since the application for the solar panel was connected to the larger application for the subdivision. In the end, no action was taken, and in fact, the applicant decided to withdraw the application for the solar panel because he was concerned about delaying the approval process for the subdivision. The second item on the agenda is a lot line adjustment between Kathleen Knight and Caspic Hill Game Club. Typically, lot line adjustments are very straightforward. This one, unfortunately, was not. It was actually rather complicated. And again, after lengthy discussion, Ms. Knight, the verdict is that Ms. Knight will do actually a deed consolidation on her property to divide it into two pieces, one of which will be conveyed to Casperkill, and that will be done via lot line adjustment, and then Casperkill will do its own lot line adjustment to incorporate that piece of property into their main holding. So no action was taken on that, and that's the end of the report.
Okay, thank you. Next one is zoning board of appeals.
Okay, zoning board met on June 12th, also a very lengthy meeting. Only one application on the agenda, but a very complicated one that required a good bit of discussion. Located on Bryan Way, which is in the area around Silver Lake, and it had to do with a property that has it's a pre-existing non-conforming property with essentially a garage as opposed to a residence. The owner wishes to convert the garage to a seasonal residence for rental purposes and also enlarge it. Main order of discussion revolved around, well, first of all, the size of the unit, which would be smaller than what is allowed in the zoning law. Again, keeping in mind that this was a pre-existing building. Also having to do with the availability of being able to put in a well and a septic system. And then a more complicated, I think, or at least a more abstract philosophical discussion about whether this would be a change in use. And would it require a use variance as opposed to an area variance, which would put it into a whole different category. So after much back and forth, the ZBA asked the representative of the applicant to go back to his clients and get a little bit better sense of what they're interested in doing and how much of an investment they're willing to make in this, because it could turn out to be a very time-consuming process, and no further action was taken. And that's it.
Thank you. Next one is CAC.
The CAC met on May 9th. They are teaming up with the library for a series of educational community lectures throughout the summer. The first one is going to be held on June 28th at 6:30 p.m. It's a program for composting for the home, presented by a Cornell Cooperative Extension Master Gardener volunteer. There was a proposal for a Christmas tree farm that was discussed and deemed to have no issues, so a letter was sent to the planning board. And there was a discussion on their new document regarding Town of Clinton zoning laws and developing your property, and the document seems to be close to approval and will be included in future folders for distribution to new residents. That's it.
Oh, that's it? Okay, thank you. Recreation Committee.
Yes, we met last month. I believe all the fees are on the web already, are they not, Carol?
I'd have to double check.
Okay, well, I could just quickly go through them
We haven't
again.
approved any fees.
Fees for the camp.
We haven't approved any fees for the camp from last year. We haven't approved any new fees.
But-
Last year, we approved fees in the camps.
Yeah,
This year, we didn't approve any yet.
I thought we did last meeting.
No, there was no motion made. You
Okay,
just said it, but you didn't do a motion.
okay, all right, so maybe I need to do that tonight? Okay, all right, well, we do have fees here. They're, just for the record, and here's the handouts. There's two pieces of paper for each of you. All right, let me just read this very quickly. And I apologize if I read this slowly. The dog ate my good glasses, so I'm not reading too well. Okay, the pavilion fees for this year are $150 for residents and $250 for non-residents. We do occasionally have organizations, and that would be $350, and $700 for commercial rental if we were to have any. The summer camp will be K through 5, kids K through 5. The fees are $75 for residents and $175 for non-residents. The camp weeks are July 9th through the 13th. July 16th through the 20th, and then August 6th through 10, and August 13 through 17. We also provide summer swimming lessons at the park, Randmark Park, and that's $25 a week. We have been talking for the last couple of years about a middle school camp, and right now we are planning on running a middle school camp for grades 6 and through 8, which is sorely needed in this community, and that would be July 9th through and August 6th. It'd be a one-day camp. We're also looking at running if we get enough participants, running a basketball camp as well, July 23rd through 27th. We need a minimum of 8 children to sign up for that, and the fee is $75 a player. Lifeguards are all in place and process. Lifeguards, gates, personnel as well. New equipment, we're looking at new equipment, some of which might be purchased this year. A lot of it will have to go in next year's budget, like a merry-go-round, but we are looking to purchase that of our own budget. Little things like lifeguard chairs and benches, et cetera. A need for, I'm sorry. We're looking at putting new mulch, new sand in the beaches, et cetera. That's going to happen June 18th. We're getting prices on a roof for the dugout, which again will have to be next year, and prices on replacing some fencing and stuff in Friends Park over here off of Salt Point Turnpike. That's the end of report.
Okay, thank you. Building inspector.
Okay, building inspector. The building inspector issued 23 permits this period, 16 COs and CCs. A number of title searches was 11. The number of miles the building inspector drove through the community was 359 miles. The total cost of construction for this period was $1,120,804.22. End of report.
Next one is zoning administrator.
Excuse me, a busy month for the zoning administrator. 23, I believe, applications reviewed and approved for new residential construction, additions, farm structures, and so on. In addition, 1, 2, looks like 5, I believe, 6 somewhat difficult potential violations that he is currently working on. A subdivision on Bull's Head Road. The owner erected a sign which is in violation, and in fact there was no sign permit approved for that. So they will be coming into the planning board with an application. A gentleman on Falk Hill Road who's been cited several times for sanitary violations and motor vehicle violations on his property, and has not yet responded to those citations. Also, a similar situation on Fiddler's Bridge Road with multiple unlicensed vehicles. On Fiddler's Bridge Road, a teepee erected, which some of you has probably seen as you're driving by, without the benefit of a building permit, which is required in terms of sanitation and safety features and such things as that, along with access, is being used as being rented as a B&B, as an Airbnb. And that has been cited for, the ZEO has cited that for lack of a building permit. Stewart Shops over on Salt Point Turnpike has been opening an hour earlier than they were supposed to. Their permit allows them to open at 6 o'clock in the morning. They've been opening at 5. The ZEO said that they can't do that, that they're violating the zoning code by opening at 5 o'clock, and so they have returned to their 6 o'clock opening and apparently have decided to apply for a variance to the planning board to allow them to open an hour earlier. And on Schultzville Road, work being done within 100 feet of a stream without the benefit of a Town of Clinton water law permit. The contractor does have a DEC permit and thought that was sufficient, but of course it's not. And so the ZEO issued a stop work order, and they will be coming in also to the planning board to apply for a permit for the working with a water law permit for the working within 100 feet of a stream. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Next one is highway.
Highway Department has a busy time during this season, so they prepared Fiddler's Bridge, Lake Pleasant and Browns Ponds Road for the last bit of blacktop oil and stone. Oil and stone was on Fiddler's Bridge Road, Lake Placid, and as they actually prepared it and then did it. And those maintenance on the trucks, of course, getting prepared for winter, as well as the maintenance. This time of year, there's a great deal of maintenance because of all the road work that's being done. They also did dirt and coal patch on some of the roads, and they began roadside mowing. End of report.
Thank you. Next one, scenic and historic roads.
No business this month. It was a quiet month for Scenic Roads Committee. They had a busy month previously, but since that time, no activity.
Okay. Library report?
The library had 2 meetings since our last meeting. On May 14th, they had a meeting where they approved a new finance policy. They were discussing fundraising events like the shredding event that took place on June 2nd and a charity golf tournament at Dinsmore in September. Several trustees went on a field trip to visit other small libraries in the area in order to get ideas regarding improving the layout, the circulation desk, and the entry of our library. And they discussed upcoming meeting with Assemblymember Dee Dee Barrett regarding funding for capital projects. They met again last night where Tim Sullivan was approved to join the Board of Trustees, so we now have 7 trustees on the library board, leaving 2 vacancies. The library is continuing to attract larger numbers to their community events. The shredding event was successful last week, and the Contravents events, which are taking place on the 2nd Saturday of every month for the remainder of the year, have been attracting at least 50 people each time, and they've been raising a good amount of money. The summer concert series kicks off on June 29th and will continue on Friday nights through July and August, and they are continuing to make long-term plans in terms of operations, facilities, and fundraising. End of report.
Thank you. Next one is Altace, or Cablevision, whichever way you know 'em.
There was no communication between Altice and the town this month. However, I did advocate on behalf of the Clinton Historical Society to try and secure free internet service for them. Turns out that Altice will provide a free cable service to municipal and educational organizations, but not free internet, so it was worth a shot.
Okay, well, you tried.
Yeah.
Zoning revision?
So I'm happy to say that we kind of set a goal for ourselves to be complete by the end of June, and we pretty much had our last meeting last week. We'll have a final meeting just to distribute the work that was done, and I can add any other things. So during the meeting, we took some comments in from the Zoning Board of Appeals. We finished up on the commercial communications facilities, talked about non-conforming use and structures. We went over the use charts, area and bulk charts, site plan review, special permit, motor vehicles, educational institutions, steep slopes, cluster developments, and zoning revision tracker. So all that work was done. So what will happen is at the next meeting, which will be next Monday, I'm going to have a final work process that I will distribute to the board. What I would also recommend, with the board's approval, that I distribute it also to other stakeholders, being the zoning administrator, the building inspector, the zoning board, and the planning board, so that they all have an opportunity, an ample amount of time to look through to make sure that it doesn't conflict with anything that they feel should be addressed. And then at the next board meeting, what I would be then recommending is that we would have.
When you're saying board, you mean town board?
Town
meeting?
board.
Okay, I just want to
Sure,
clarify.
absolutely. So then I would recommend at the next town board meeting, we discuss any questions that you may have, and potentially set a series or one long night, whatever you guys want, but have a public hearing on all the information. Obviously, it's going to be probably a lengthy public hearing, so I would probably recommend that we, again, have either a series or pick an alternate night in addition to the regular town board meeting night. And so whether we do it on a Monday that we would normally have our zoning revision, or any other night that it's accommodating to everybody, we would then need to take in comments from the public, any suggestions of changes. And I'm trying to do this kind of quick in a sense, so that we could potentially finish it by September, so that this way it doesn't get involved with our budgeting time period, which is another time eater. So that's my report.
Okay.
So is it okay with the town board that I distribute it to the other stakeholders?
Sure.
Okay, so I just wanted to get that permission.
Can you put it on the webpage?
Sure. I will, like I said, I will distribute to everybody, so I'll send a copy to Carol, and she can post to the website. It'll be the red line visions version, so you could see the red lines are the items that have been changed, either added or subtracted.
That way anybody in the community can
exactly.
see it whenever they want.
Right.
Okay, so,
And a report.
okay, the next one is proposed transmission lines. I got an email about 4 o'clock today, so I had to quick download it, read it, and I made a quick summary of it. It says something, but not much. New York State ISO, which is the independent system operator, is advancing a $1 billion project proposed by New York Power Authority and North American Transmission Consortium. It's a new group. This is for the transmission line from Albany to Pleasant Valley through Clinton. The consortium being selected by New York State ISO is expected in July. They've said this before, so don't hold your breath. They noted the project must stay within the existing rights-of-way and emphasizes minimal increased height over existing poles, meaning towers out here. The NextEra Energy and Transco Consortium and National Grid and Transco are all crying foul because there's all kinds of, looks like subtle deals made to make the process go forward if you read between the lines of what's said. I'm just telling you what I saw. New York State ISO will give their selection to New York State PSC, Public Service Commission, and then the Article 7 process begins with public hearings again. So, possibly some news will come out in July sometime, and that'll be the first thing, but that doesn't give us any opportunity to react or anything, because it's got to go through Public Service Commission before we can start reacting once they make their final decision. So we'll keep you informed. There'll be no no meeting tonight after this for the transmission lines like we had in the past. Is there a WIC report?
No, they don't meet until the end of
Okay.
July.
Okay, so we just cancel that. Any other reports? Okay, old business, taking over cemeteries.
Okay, we spoke about this last month, and actually have spoken about it several times in the past. Basically, for those of you who weren't involved in this before, there are 3 cemeteries in town that have indicated they want the town to take over beginning next year. We've heard from 2 of them. We have not yet received a formal written request from the third one, but that is expected imminently. About a month ago, I guess it was a day or 2 after our last town board meeting, Ray and I met with the bookkeeper in Rhinebeck and spent several hours with her in the town of Rhinebeck, asking questions about their experience. They have gone through a similar thing, and she was very helpful in terms of how to handle the funding and the financial issues. I guess the next step will be for us to sit down with the treasurers of our cemeteries here to look at their books and review their financial situation. In the meantime, Ray was in contact with the insurance folks about coverage, and I'll read you from an email that we have, that cemeteries that are owned by the town of Clinton have automatic general liability and public officials liability coverage. This is based on the town having the usual municipal exposure for the cemeteries, such as mowing lawn, maintaining roads, preparing burial sites, and managing open sites. If the town will be doing cremations, selling caskets, and providing other funeral-related services, then another policy would be needed. I don't think we're intending to do that.
I hope not.
Right. For these exposures, as NYMER would not be able to provide coverage. And as for workers' comp, please advise if the town will be taking on more employees and payroll to maintain the cemeteries, and if so, that has to be factored into additional workers' comp costs, although I don't think we're planning to do that either, but we don't know at this point. So at the moment, that's where we stand, and the idea is to try to have something in place in time for the budget, the 2019 budget.
The interesting thing is, you know, we got to figure out what the account codes are, how much money to put them in for the budget for 2019, and how much money is coming from the organizations, and how much do we want to, how can we use it and all of that. So it's an involved process. It's not just like a standard budget thing.
Now, did they talk about auditing it at all? The other treasurers that have taken over from the towns? I mean, to audit, number one, what monies should be in the accounts as to so much money is supposed to be dedicated towards the perpetual life care, and to make sure that those monies are there. I mean, just because they, want to abandon the cemeteries doesn't mean that some monies weren't taken from those accounts that should be there. So us taking over those liabilities and responsibilities, it's, I think, behooving on us to make sure that everything's audited and up to date as to the plots that have been sold versus the amount of monies that are supposed to be set aside for that. So I would recommend that we do an audit on those cemeteries to make sure that all the financials are in.
No.
Okay, so I don't know, I'm just saying that it should be audited to make sure that we're taking over a liability. Usually, I mean, even if a business, if you buy out someone else's business, you want to go in and you want to do an audit to make sure that that business is up to date with the state and everything's all copacetic.
Yeah, that's why we're trying to meet with the treasurers to see what
Right.
actions they've taken, and to go back and verify on the cemeteries. I mean, some of these cemeteries go back 200 years just about, so you're not gonna find pence and quids and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure, on some
Well,
of
I
these
think
things.
from the limited
Yeah.
knowledge I have, I think the state changed the way that you could use that perpetual
yeah.
care money. So
Right.
it hasn't been 200 years that this perpetual money has been now shoved into this special account that you can't touch. So it's probably not far that we have to go back, maybe 10, 20 years, whatever it is. So,
Well, the other thing is, part of the meeting with the treasurers is to find out where they have the money, how much money they have,
Exactly.
in what accounts, and obviously see the bank statements to see what's there from the bank. So until we get to that point, I don't want to put an audit on them, because audits can cost like $5,000.
well, it depends on if you're doing like a forensic audit, where it's, more of a,
But they,
I know.
when they don't have money, I mean, it's our expense then,
Oh,
so, we didn't put that much in this year because I didn't know what was happening,
Right.
so it's a trade-off that we're looking at. We haven't got,
it'd also be good to know, what plots have been sold but are sitting there empty, so that would be an obligation for us to have to open up at some future point versus the ones that are available that haven't been sold.
oh, they know that.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah, the difficulty that happened is about, I'll say during the Depression years, in the 20s and 30s, maybe early 40s, a lot of families were buying family plots, which were like 14 or 12 or 6. 3 people got buried, the rest of them moved away, and they are left there. And now you gotta go through and search through the estate people, the people who got them, you know, as a will or whatever, to get their permission to do anything with them. Otherwise, they're just open fields in the midst of your cemetery. So, and that's a big problem. That's one of the reasons why they are having some trouble, because a lot of space is paid for but can't be used because of this. Yeah, so that's part of the process we're plowing through.
Just very, very quickly, I should mention too that I had a conversation with Theron. Just doing some very rough estimates for the maintenance came up with about $5,000 or $6,000 a year for basic maintenance of the 3 cemeteries. It's an approximation,
Yeah, we'll start.
so.
Okay, thank you. The next thing is the Sam Grant, the paving project. Okay. Just so you know what paving project means, we short word these things so we don't have to go through all the detail. It's out here, remember the dirt part of the driveway? The paths up to the buildings, the stone paths. The stone paths coming into the other 2 buildings and the parking area down there. That's roughly the area we're talking about, getting it paved. The initial May bid came in with costs much too high, so a new bid package has reduced the scope of the work to bring the costs more in line with grants funds. It was rebidded and 4 bids were received. The lowest bid was from Avello Brothers for $59,850. The total Sam Grant was $50,000 for the total of the macadam work and highway garage door repair. Thus, there is a $33,950 overage for the Sam Grant funding. In the 2019 budget is $25,000 for the replacement of the old highway garage roof. These funds can be used to reduce the overage to $8,950 since the roof replacement is included in an Assemblywoman D.D. Barrett proposed grant, so it should be available for this use, and we'll talk about that one a little later. The remaining overage of $8,950 can be covered by using the allowance for some incidental items. In other words, they put contingency in and stuff like that. And expected savings in item 4, gravel usage. They put it in just in case we needed it. We don't think we'll need it, so that cost reduces it. Most of the macadam cost increase was due to the increase in asphalt prices used for the macadam and some wage increases since the original estimate was made over 2 years ago. That's how long this process has been going on. So that's the background and the status of this thing. Then I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve the bid for paving the town complex using Sam Grant funds from Avello Brothers at a cost not to exceed $59,850 on the recommendation of the town engineer. Is there a second?
second.
Any discussion?
Yes,
Okay.
we haven't talked. Go ahead, you first.
So obviously, there was an email that exchanged in that some people were saying that the bid wasn't fully disclosed and there was misunderstanding. I mean, has that been ironed out? I mean,
Yes.
what's the issue, and potentially, does that mean it could have gone down lower? I mean,
No. Well, the issue was, there was a misunderstanding by the person who made the
well,
statement.
she made a statement that she was overpricing her bid because of it.
I understand, but Pizza Terro talked, or tried communicating, and she sent an email back saying it's a non-issue. It just came like a day or so ago. I didn't send them, I lose track of all the ones I'm sending out. So that's a non-issue, that thing.
It opened up the discussion that maybe people were pricing it higher because they all misunderstood, and I wondered, whether we could get a better price.
Pete said he talked to all of them,
All right.
and they all bid on the same thing.
Okay.
I just wanted to have clarification out in front of this building.
Yeah.
Is that going to be paved as well? You said the dirt.
Yeah, the dirt right outside here.
The
Okay,
gravel part.
so we're going to get the paving in front of the steps, and we're going to get it over by the stairs that go into the building where the zoning and everybody is?
Yeah, all the
All right,
paths.
because there are issues with the height of the step and.
Oh, yes, I know.
So they're going to do all that?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because there are safety issues that I am
Yeah,
now
yeah, no,
concerned
no, no.
about. Okay,
So we have to come up with $9,000. Is that the,
Well, we
More or
expect
less.
it'll pop up in savings along the way, because we did put contingency in and
Right.
stuff like that
But
to
the-
cover it.
right, so the grant is for 50.
The grant is for 50.
Okay.
We gotta cover the difference
Okay.
in several ways. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. There were two parts to the SAM grant. The other part was the repair of the highway garage doors. And initially, we received no bids at the May Town Board meeting, so we rebid with only one bid being received from Dutchess Overhead Doors for $24,100. And this is essentially to do two things. One, if you look at the big garage doors, on each side is a C-channel that goes up and supports the door and the wall structure. That's been banged up a few times by trucks somehow bouncing off of them, maybe snowplow blades, I don't know. The other part is between the doors, there are concrete blocks as part of the wall, maybe about 3 feet high, something like that. And they are deteriorating, they're falling apart, they're gonna fall in or out, so we gotta get them fixed. So that's what that project's about. And that was all part of that same grant, so it's two activities within one grant. So I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve accepting the bid for the garage door project using SAM grant funds from Dutchess Overhead Doors at a cost not to exceed $24,100 at the recommendation of the town engineer.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
Ready for me?
Yep.
In July of 2017, we joined the Climate Smart Communities program, and I've been moving forward with the planning and of the enactment of the program. So one of the things in there is establishing a task force, and the task force can be made up of people on this town board, people working in other areas of our government, local residents, any stakeholders. I've asked people from Omega to be involved, things like that. And they would provide guidance and advice every step of the way. But in order to do it, we need to pass a resolution approving the formation of the task force. So I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approves resolution number of 2018 titled Establish a Climate Smart Community Task Force for the Town of Clinton.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I'm just wondering who will initiate this as a person? Is it you?
Yeah, and so the
and-
next.
Well, I started it while I was on the CAC, and so the questions were sent out, and one of the women's was Eufra, or however. Europa.
Yeah.
And she's been willing to help in the whole process.
She's a coordinator for the Clean Energy Communities with NYSERDA.
Okay.
And we're doing both of those programs. The Clean Energy Communities it's an easier lift. And when we accomplish that, we'll become eligible for grants, which will help us with the Climate Smart program.
I guess.
So
this-
in terms of a coordinator, that's gonna be the next thing we approve.
And
so
the second question I would have, there'll be some criteria sort of that is available for those people who want to be a part of the task force?
Yes.
Okay.
And in fact, I'm asking anybody that is interested to be a part of it to contact me, wittentownboard@gmail.com.
Good.
I've also sent out emails with all those criteria to a
Okay.
host of people and organizations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You have
Oh,
a motion
Right,
and a second.
yeah. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next one.
And so the next thing is approving a community coordinator for the Climate Smart program. I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve resolution number of 2018 titled Establish a Climate Smart Community Coordinator for the Town of Clinton.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Do we have a name?
It would be me. It's in the resolution.
I know, but the public doesn't know, and I thought that would be
It
fairly
would be
simple.
fair to let them know.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Next one is Safety Committee for permit.
Yes, I have formed a committee, and the committee is comprised of myself as the chairperson, Theron Tompkins as the highway coordinator for that area, Dan Harkenrider is for the parks that we have in the town, Louis Furici is the complex guy. He's going to go around with me, and we're going to start building by building and look at our internal safety situation, whether things need to be changed. A lot of things like exit signs and fire extinguishers and all those things that sometimes get overlooked on an annual basis. So the action taken so far is that Louis and myself are going to go around starting the 12th. Or actually, I'm sorry, we got a meeting on the 12th today, and we put a schedule in place that on the 19th, we're going to meet and start building by building, look at any of the exposures we have from an administrative point of view.
Town complex building.
The town complex building, these three buildings,
I
yes.
just don't want the community to think you're running
No,
someplace
no, I
else.
thought I made that clear, but yes.
Every
No.
house in the town?
No, his job, separate from that, is something different.
Yeah.
Okay? But he's the man to do that, because he has all the requirements, and we can look to do it right, because we're in need of doing this at this point. So, and what I'm gonna do, we're gonna put a letter out to all of the town employees, et cetera, saying what we're doing, who they can contact, and so they won't, and asking for any input if they see things that are not right, okay?
Thank
So,
you.
end of
Sounds
report.
good start. Very good
Thank
start. Okay, next is new business, library PA.
Yeah. So, after the discussions recently about microphones and videos and everything, the library wanted to make sure that they were covered. So, I make a motion to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve the use of the stand-up microphone and speaker system for the library lectures and programs. The equipment will only be handled by trained library personnel.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I just want you to know currently there are 2 people that are trained for those things, and they're always at the events. They're the ones that have been using.
When you say trained, what does that mean?
Just setting up the microphone, setting up the
I'm
speakers.
saying, what's the qualification of being trained?
I trained them.
There it is.
I trained them.
I asked how many were trained.
Okay,
So he has a Trzynski certificate?
I guess that, yeah,
Okay.
he's got a gold star certificate.
The one thing that they need to do is put it back to the way you folks need it at your meetings, so it's not an issue.
Yeah,
okay.
And they understand that.
okay. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, carried. Okay, the next one is the grant that was submitted last, well, the 1st of June, wherever it is. Theron and I met with the supervisors and highway superintendents to purchase a 20-ton tilt trailer and 12-ton dirt roller to compact the dirt roads after they are rebuilt each spring and on other occasions when needed. The towns of Clinton, Mylan, and Northeast have a total of 28 miles of dirt roads, and the 2018 Municipal Innovation Grant, which is really shared services grant that we used to call, funds will purchase the equipment. The grant proposal was submitted on June 1st. So I'm just protecting ourselves by having this resolution there. If the grant is approved, they'll want to see a resolution. I send them a letter, but they sometimes want this. So that's what this is all about. I make a motion to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board resolution of 2018 joining the shared services program to purchase a dirt roller and trailer for the towns of Clinton, Mylan, and Northeast using municipal innovation grant, shared service funds. Second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay. Next one is, again, approving the use of the town of Clinton for certain county highways for snow removal. We did it part of last year. Contract was negotiated quite late, so we only got part of a season in, but this is to do the whole thing. So this is, what we're talking about now is an amendment to last year's IMA. It only changes dates for the 2018-2019 winter season. The town reimbursement rates remain the same as were in the last IMA, same as last year's. I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve resolution number of 2018 titled 2018-2019 winter IMA for Dutchess County snow removal. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further
Yeah,
discussion?
I just have a question. I hope- Exhibit A, this pertains to what we're talking about here? Okay,
No,
No,
it does not.
no,
What
that's
the-
different.
What does exhibit,
That's the procurement specialist bidding. It's the pages before it. It's just
Okay.
a simple
It's
resolution.
just one page.
okay,
One page.
then I will hold off until we get there. Got it, okay, I understand. Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We actually make money on that one because Center Road is the road that's the most mileage, and it's a road we gotta go down to go to all our other roads, so we're paying to do what we would have done almost without being paid, so,
Don't say that out loud.
so it's a good deal. Okay, yeah, approval of using Dutchess County Procurement Specialist for bidding. Dutchess County Shared Services offers procurement services to help local governments. Their offering is to write bids, sending out bids on BidNet to businesses, provide cooperative purchasing opportunities, and other related activities. Their cost is $60 per hour for the service provided. In our case, Morris Associates would continue to write the technical aspects of the bid, and Shared Services would send it out on BidNet to reach a broader group of businesses. We can do BidNet ourselves, but to maintain the list, train the staff, and keep it current would be more expensive than paying Shared Services for our limited use. And it's by, the hour. We don't pay for a full hour if it's only 15 minutes, we pay a quarter of that. So for us, we don't do it often, but they're getting more requiring that we ensure we get to minorities and women's organizations and document that we've been to them. And that's getting harder and harder for us to find these within our knowledge pool, okay? So it's easier for them, that's what they do, they send it out, and we don't have to worry that we've met that criteria because we met it, so. And the other part is, whoever we would train, if they ever left, we'd be in a problem area because who do we train again? I mean, it's not a skill that anybody learns in bookkeeping or anything else. It's a complicated skill. It was brought in on board in early 90s. I've been to some of the classes, but that was too long ago and we couldn't afford to do it at that time. So that's what this is about. I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve the agreement between Dutchess County and the town of Clinton for the utilization of a county procurement specialist and authorizes the supervisor to sign the contract. Is there a second?
Second.
More discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Did you vote, Councilman Warner?
Aye.
Are you
Aye.
voting?
I
Yeah.
just- I didn't-
Oh,
I
oh,
just
I
didn't
thought
hear.
just,
No, no,
Didn't hear
that's,
okay,
that's
okay.
quite
It was
all
a
right.
last minute holdout.
okay. Okay, the next one is stop signs someplace.
Stop signs, yes. There are two different motions for stop signs. There's been a lot of discussion on stop signs at various areas in the town, and this one pertains to a stop sign that was at Sunset Trail that will be moved to Schultzville Road, southbound Schultzville Road. There have been a lot of traffic through there, and it's been approved by the powers to be that we'd be able to move that without any incident, and it would be, the traffic would flow better. And it would be certainly a safety improvement. So I'd like to make a motion. The motion would be it resolved that the town board approve a stop sign to be moved from Sunset Trail southbound to Schultzville Road with the addition of a stop sign ahead 200 feet before that. And that's been recommended by the DC traffic engineer, Stephen Gill.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, and the second one, if I can read it, is converting a stop sign, or converting a yield sign to a stop sign. And that would be, a yield sign is at Rusky Lane right now, and we want to move it to the intersection of Browning Road, and again, it would become no longer a yield sign, but a stop sign. So I'd like to recommend that we be it resolved that the town board approve changing the yield sign at Rusky Lane to stop sign at Browning Road intersection.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we should, and you and I talked a little bit about it, but I didn't know, I think there should be a stop sign both ways, because people just come over that hill on Browning Road and they're full speed, and there should probably even be like almost like a yield warning sign up on the top of that hill before they get down to the bottom, because I have seen people go through there pretty haphazardly, and even just turning into Rusky, crossing over the path of Browning is
Pretty
somewhat
dangerous.
dangerous, especially if they got a horse trailer.
Yeah. Okay. Any further discussion?
Would you need to have one of those stop ahead signs over there?
One of those what?
Well,
Stop ahead.
on the Schultzville Road thing, for some reason, the gentleman wants there to be a stop ahead sign. I just wonder if the same thing applies to Rusky Lane or not.
Yes. So Theron said yes.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Are you going to add that? Are you going to add a stop ahead? Okay, so you have to amend the motion.
Okay. So read the whole thing again, or just amend it?
Well, add.
Addition
with
be it-
the
to a,
addition of
be
a
it-
stop
Stop
ahead,
ahead.
2
Okay.
feet in advance.
Be it resolved that the town board approve the stop ahead sign at Browning Road in Rusky,
panel 200 feet in
200 feet
advance of the-
prior to the intersection.
Okay. Is there a second on that?
Yeah, second.
All in favor of passing the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we go back to the original one. All in favor of passing the original?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Okay, the next one is Bike New York uses the area right out front here for their bicycling, and they always ask us, and they give us insurance and all of that, so, and we've been doing it for lots of years. They clean up. It's a good organization. So I make a motion to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approves the use of the town complex as the staging area for New York Bike, for the Bike Club Bike New York, rather, on June 23rd, 2018. A certificate of liability has been received. They have been using the town property for many years. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, the next one is the alternate vet exemption.
So, a couple things. I mean, we have been talking about veterans through several conversations, and obviously, the county has declared this is the year of the veteran. So, when I got a complaint from a veteran saying, why is it that the town of Clinton is one of the 2 lowest in the county for exemptions, I looked into it and I saw what the county was offering and what other towns were offering. And most other towns are offering the same exemption rate as what the county is. And so I sent out the example to everybody on the board. I got a consensus by 2 other people saying that they would support it. So I'm making a recommendation that we have a public hearing and we change to match the county's rate. Obviously, this year's budget's already been set, so this would be for next year's, 2019's billing rate, so we could plan for it and budget for it. So I make a motion, be it resolved, the town board approves the following resolution, that the town board approves resolution of 2018, introducing law of 2018 entitled Increase to Alternative Veteran Real Property Tax Exemption, and setting a public hearing at the Town Hall on July 10th, 2018 at 6:25 o'clock p.m. prevailing time. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
There's also a Gold Star family exemption that you can add to it. I've noticed that some other towns have done. Have you considered or looked
I
into it?
didn't see that as far as the other towns. I only was following what
Yeah,
the
I
county
don't-
was
I know that.
putting in.
I don't think the county has it, and I don't think all the towns do, but I did notice like this A next to some of them, and I looked into what the A meant, and it meant that there was a Gold Star family exemption, so it
Right,
seems like an important thing that we'd want to do as well.
okay, well, I'll make another inquiry. I did get a number, and I was quickly trying to look through, I didn't bring the copy with me, but I had Teresa look at what the impact would be for our budget, so that we would have all those numbers. I didn't bring it with me, so I'll distribute it to everybody on the board before the next meeting. So I'll ask her if she has the ability, because right now, nobody's registered that way, so I don't know if you could even guess
Yeah.
what the impact would be.
20.
Yeah.
You know, so that would be even a harder thing. But obviously, there's basically 3 categories. There's wartime, combat, and disability. Did you notice how the rate was on the Gold Star? I mean, were they following?
They followed the same rate, and then there was an A next to it as if people.
Right, but
So-
if you look at wartime is 15%, combat's 10, and disability is
Oh, I didn't
50%.
notice.
So you don't know what the rate would be?
No.
All right, well, I'll look into that, and I'll ask to see if we can kind of guess what the impact, I don't think we can, but I'll ask
All right.
if that's a possibility. And even if we apply the same rate as to, you know, the combat or whatever, so, all right,
Okay,
so a vote.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the motion's carried. Website,
I started a conversation with Carol last week and a little bit with Elliot, and then got Ray involved about making changes to our website to make it more user-friendly for town residents, streamlining information, incorporating information about some town departments that aren't on the website. We used to have a webmaster, but then hard financial times came 10 years ago, and that got cut. But unfortunately, the job of the webmaster still needed to get done, so it started falling on other people. And so we started a conversation, and Ray came up with a great suggestion that Carol and Ray and I are going to get together on June 26th to have a meeting about what we think the changes would be, what the scope of the work would be. So before June 26th, up until June 22nd, I'm requesting that anyone on the board or anyone in the town send me an email with any suggestions you have for our website, any complaints, anything like that, and we'll discuss it at that June 26th meeting. And then once we have the scope of it, we're gonna contact Fred Shaquin from BTC, and he will be able to give us a quote on what it would cost, and we'll have an idea of whether it's in the budget or not, and discuss it again at the July meeting.
You may also want to look into the county, because the county will offer us a website as well.
Yeah.
Through their procurement. It was more expensive, but they may have a different variation. You know, Fred, when I originally searched out Fred, he was the webmaster for LaGrange, and he had done their website, but they have since switched from Fred doing their website to the county. So the county website service does provide more, you know, feature-rich items, and it may be a situation where if we're not taking the full package, it may be a lot cheaper, and it's something that they would maintain, which may be a benefit as well. So, yeah, I mean, it hasn't been done, what, in 6 years?
Well, we update it regularly.
Yeah, I know that you guys go into it, but I'm saying Fred designed it like 6 or 7 years
Right,
ago.
Well, we add pages as needed, you know, and it's sort of quick and dirty, like, nobody gives it like 4 hours a week, it's like on a
Right.
Saturday morning.
And one of the
We do
nice
what
things
needs
was
to
he
be
did it on WordPress, which allows you to do everything
User
like a
friendly.
Word document. So it is somewhat easy to manage versus I'm sure the county one is not as easy.
Well, the other thing, in the past, last year, I've been in some meetings where they were talking about it. The county one is around 5,000 to 8,000 to do. That's basic startup cost. And then it's like 500 or 1,000, I think it's 500 or so a month.
No,
There's a fixed number per month to keep it going, yeah.
it can't be 500. That would
Well-
be ridiculous.
The numbers were bad when I first heard it. They were
Well,
up
yeah, I
and
mean, I
going.
inquired a year or so ago when they were throwing out all these different extra services that you could
Yeah.
get, like purchasing and all this other stuff that the county had
Yeah.
from that shared service meeting that we went to. And so when I inquired, I was like, yeah, you guys are out of your mind, but.
Yeah,
But maybe they've changed.
yeah,
Oh, we'll look into it.
yeah.
So please send an email if you have any suggestions or complaints or anything to Ray, myself, Carol.
Okay.
And we'll discuss it on the 26th.
Okay, thank you. Okay, summer recreation appointments.
Right. We have a whole bunch of programs running in the summer, and so we have a lot of volunteers, et cetera. And so I would like to make a motion so that we can actually gainfully employ them in the program. I like to be resolved that the town board would approve Resolution 2018 for all the summer employees supporting the town recreation program.
Is there a second? Second. Discussion? Yeah, I have a couple discussion items. One, the rate for Pat Miglio has gone up beyond what's specified in the budget by $100.
And we talked to you about that, and only that we're bringing on more programs that'll cover that, okay? Pat Miglio last year did all the CPR training, et cetera, and then we had someone who did the other job, which was all the nursing and medical coverage, and that was over $300 last year. We've combined the two.
But I'm just saying, in the budget, it wasn't that number, so we have to do a change to the
We'll
budget.
do a change, and we'll bring in the
And
revenue to cover that,
Sheet and see where it comes from.
right?
And the other one is, you have Muriel Mostello at $500 a week. That's not in the budget, so where
Right.
does that come from?
That's a brand-new program that'll bring in the money to do that. So we've got to revise our input to you. The fees, if that program flies, the fees will pay for her salary.
I expect that, but I need to have those numbers so we can make the budget whole,
Okay,
right? Just approving these people puts us in debt, so to speak, because we don't see any finance coming. You just gotta balance them out. I mean, I'm not saying, I don't know what you need. I know what you could need here by 500 times 2 weeks is $1,000, but do they need basketballs? Do they need?
No, we don't need
other-
any. We don't
Well,
need anything.
I don't know. You know, I'm just
all right.
asking.
Are we going to approve it tonight, or we have to come back to you? We can cover this by the fees, and the program may not even fly.
Well, understand that, but that's okay. If it doesn't fly, we just have the numbers and nothing, no expense occurs or no revenue
Right.
occurs, so it's a wash. But to have it without knowing, you know, the financial aspects is a little tricky.
Well, it's true that it's not specifically that line item in the budget for that amount. But we bring in, you know, and we can justify that amount by saying the revenue we bring in for this entire program far exceeds the $350.
So can we make a motion right now? I mean, we have the information in front of us. Can we make a motion now that we approve a middle school summer program for
I need the revenue.
$75 a week, as long as 12 kids sign up, and there you go. You have
Right,
over
it's
500.
always contingent on the sign-up.
Well, she gave it to us earlier, so we have it. So I'm saying, can we add a motion right now to do that, and then we can do both?
Well, this
Are
is,
you gonna do that?
well, and the other one is, I don't know if that position for Mario Mostello exists, so we gotta go and do that paperwork too.
It's almost a duplicate of the previous position we've already given to personnel,
Okay. I mean,
okay?
I
So
haven't
we've
seen
got that
Okay.
covered.
I didn't know if we had an open position, because
No,
I didn't know we were doing it yet.
it's just a different program, but it's the same tasks that are involved.
So it's a question of knowing what the income's gonna be to support this thing.
On the report you gave us earlier, you said you already have enough kids for the middle school summer camp?
Right.
So
You
it's
have-
already been,
It's,
so her salary's already been covered with the kids that have enrolled already?
right,
Okay.
they're already
So,
enrolled.
so
It's a
the
guarantee.
income was not budgeted, and
But it
this
exists already.
fee was not budgeted, so
And
they
it-
should balance it out as long as you have
It
it
more
covered.
than balances it out. There will be additional revenue. And the program did not exist when the planning process happened last year,
Right,
therefore.
he's just asking for
Yeah.
the numbers so
You
we
you
can,
could come in anytime and give me all the details, and I'd put it in, and we'd clean this
We
up.
did talk to you, but we didn't do the comeback. That was the only thing.
Well,
So,
the only thing you asked me today was about Pat doing more work. You didn't say anything else about the
now,
rest of the
did we
cost.
budget that 300 for the nurse or whatever?
No, it was 250.
Did we budget for that?
yes,
Yes.
it's
And,
in,
and so
it's
the
in the
extra
rec
100,
budget. Yes, it is. It's part of
that
the
So
5,000.
salary is
gonna
really part of that 250, so we're really ahead by 150.
No, we're gonna take the money out of contractual. that
Well, you
we
just
paid
said it was
somebody else.
$100 more,
Yes.
but now we're not needing that extra 250 position because she's doing it?
She's doing 2 jobs now, where we had 2 different people doing it last year, which
So
was
so
more
we're
than
really
350.
saving 150.
We didn't budget for it. It's not
But he
budgeted.
said he budgeted 250 for it.
250, yeah,
Only,
only.
not 500.
And the other money was probably budgeted, and I didn't go through the account, in one or the other.
But I thought she was only getting $100 more. I thought that's what you said.
Yeah,
So it was $100, oh, it was $100 more with that 250 added?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
it's 350, if you look on the sheet.
But here's the reason why. We've introduced 2 more programs of which she has the responsibility, which did not exist before, and which will bring in revenue to more than cover that $100.
All I was doing is just looking at the financial aspects of it.
all right.
And I didn't have numbers,
All right?
and I'm just saying, I don't have numbers, so I can't put stuff into the budget to make it work. It's not that I'm saying you can't do it.
All right, well,
I just
because
gotta have
because
numbers
of
to put
time
down.
and because of the fact that the camp is already due to start right around our next budget, board meeting, we're not gonna have time, so can we advance this today based on the numbers that she's just presented?
I mean, I can get you all the numbers
Yeah.
this week, all right?
I can tell you that I've paid the fees for my own kids, and I've almost covered her $500 for 1 week. So we're good.
You have a big family, is that what you're saying?
All right, the issue
Okay.
is, it's not in the budget and you need the figures.
I
The
need-
issue is not justifying the programs themselves
No,
or,
it's
or
not the
the support to
program
have
issue,
those programs. Okay, so I would ask the same question he asked, can we approve it? And it would be contingent on me giving you the data that supports that. Okay,
So make the motion.
okay?
Well, she did make the
Oh,
motion,
you did?
yeah. I just opened it up under discussion.
Yeah.
So then we need a vote?
Yeah.
Well, you have to amend it,
Amend what?
amend the motion, no?
No, you don't.
No. We
Okay.
just talked about.
Oh.
That'll be just in discussion, but
Yeah,
Okay,
separate from the
all
motion.
right.
okay, so all in favor then?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Next one. Nice. Cheat sheet there. Yeah. I'll just get. The firewall that we have and router. The existing router firewall has outlived its effectiveness to the new threats coming on the scene today. The virus update support is also stopping on that existing one. The purchase of a new Sonic Wall TZ300 wireless AC security appliance with its active scanning software package is $1,249.16 and is off New York State bid. This purchase is included in the 2018 budget, and installation costs will come from the computer maintenance account. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
I gotta make the
didn't
motion.
actually
I gotta make the motion. I forgot. I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approves the purchase of a new main router firewall to upgrade security due to increased threats from malicious software at a cost not to exceed $1,240.16. Is there a second? Now we're back. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I continually, and for the last several years, have said that we really should be pushing everything to the cloud. I mean, we just spent a lot of money on a server, which in the next couple of years it's gonna be obsolete as well. You know, by going to a cloud base, which most of the government agencies are now pushing to, they're gonna constantly update their routers and firewalls and everything else. I mean, you know, we keep on throwing money into basically old technology, because the day that you get it, it's already old. I mean, it's fine, it's $1,200 is not a big thing, but the server was a big thing, and I think that
Yeah.
we really need to start focusing in on going that direction.
Well, I mean, this is so that we can keep operating on the internet the way it is today.
Oh, I know.
We're stuck.
I think we need to look at all this for the budget process coming up for next year, though. Because there's so much out there that we don't know that would
And it keeps changing.
possibly encompass a lot more and, you know, and more updated technology, but that's for the next process.
Okay, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Now, the next one is the additional grant request to Assemblywoman Dee Dee Barrett. Let's get to that one, okay. It's a little complicated, because we did some before, now we're doing more to it. Previously, you approved a grant request to Assemblywoman Dee Dee Barrett for replacement of the old highway garage roof that's out here, and 62 additional solar panels for $93,311 for a total of $122,211. Library staff, Councilman Michael Whitten and I met with Assemblywoman Barrett to discuss library improvements. The library wanted another handicap accessible entrance through the library's front door, which would require another ramp and a handicap accessible new entrance door. I also asked for a 150 kW standby generator to allow the town hall complex and library to function during power outages. She, meaning Assemblywoman, agreed to consider these additions. For the library ramp is $81,000 and the generator is $107,500. The total of all grants is $310,711. So that's the background. I heard that she had given a grant of $250,000 to Stamford, town of Stamford, to do improvements in their town hall or something, whatever. So the number is not way out of line of what she has been doing, okay? So I make a motion that the town board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve resolution of 2018 requesting a grand total grant request to Assemblywoman Barrett of $310,000, $310,711. Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion?
You know, what happens if she only approves part of it? I mean,
Well, I don't know.
Well,
Didn't we put in for this last year for the generator and the solar panels?
That was a
that
different,
was the county.
that was a county one.
It's a
This
county
is
grant.
different.
so,
I've tried a lot of times.
so you started with a roof and the solar panels.
Yep.
And then I happened to meet her at another event, and she was talking to us about the library and other things, and she said, well, I got that grant, why don't we make it bigger?
Okay.
She basically wanted our wish list to make it bigger.
Yeah.
So we accommodated her, and
Oh,
that's
yeah,
how
I
we ended
mean-
up here.
No problem. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just concerned that this garage roof has kept on, the can kicked down the street.
Yeah.
And we just took it out of the monies that we were gonna use in the sand grant. Now, you know, if we don't get this, we still are with a roof that is in
In need of repair.
need of repair, and that's more my concern, is that we took the money out of the sand grant, and now we're hoping
Yeah.
to get this other grant, and what happens if we don't get it? That's more my
All- all the-
concern.
All comments have been positive
Ken-
so far.
Yeah.
Do they typically come back and say, we can't give you the whole thing, we give you half of it, which ones do you want?
It
Or do
can
they
or
just,
Cannot.
they just say-
I doubt it.
whatever?
I
It's
doubt
either
it.
yes or no.
I mean, they do have the
This one is not
itemization
again.
of the 4 items, so I suppose she could say,
Pick and choose.
you
We'll
know,
give you this
we
and
can give
this,
you
but-
this,
yeah.
and we can do these things.
In the past, 2 years ago, I sent in one for just the, which one was it? I think the roof, yeah, like 25,000 or whatever the number was. And I sent it in because I was at a meeting with her and I said, you never gave us a grant. She said, send one in. So I sent it in. I said, well, why didn't I get it? She says, it wasn't expensive enough. I gotta be over 100,000. So that's why when I did the first one here for the garage roof and the solar panels, it's over 100,000. It's 122,000. So that's, it's a learning process.
But but 310 might process out of the ballpark.
Well, I will say during that meeting, we had the solar panels, the roof, and then you brought up the generator. And then she said, okay, what else?
Yeah.
So that's when we had library
And
people
we
there, and we
gave her-
started talking about. the
And we
handicap.
gave her ballpark numbers, you know, because we didn't have firm numbers at that point. But they were a little bit less than this, but probably the total.
I just didn't want to be too greedy and get nothing
Yeah,
when
right.
we really need
Yeah,
the
yeah.
garage roof.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And I think we can prioritize that any money we get goes to that first, because it needs to get done.
Or what, you know, depends on how the things got.
Well, that was my question, whether they're earmarked or whether there's
Yeah.
discretion.
And my guess
That's
is,
what I was trying to ask.
since this is a grant process through the legislature, we'll probably know what's happening end of September, October kind of timing. So that's where we'll know what's happening. So it almost is too late to even bid for anything this year. It's a next year kind of activity project. But I've kept the library informed. I'm gonna write up this grant tomorrow so I can get it in, because she's been asking about it. And, you know, we've given her ballpark numbers, but it's been challenging to figure out how long the ramp's gotta be and all that kind of stuff. So,
I would almost even suggest that, as far as talking about ramps, is that we connect all of the buildings on a ramp, because even the Masonical, I mean, yeah, granted, you could go through the elevator in the back, but if you're in the front here, if you had a wheelchair ramp to just go into the building department, if they were all connected by one continuous ramp, it would really work out. So as far as the design, it's only connecting from this door over and from the town hall door over.
The design, though, for the library now has been changed because there are handicap spots over by the Justice Court. So there will be a ramp going that way from the front door of the library
Well, you can
and around
continue
the
down,
side.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
so they can go both ways. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Resignations, appointments?
No, before you do that, do I need to make a resolution to adopt all of the fees for the the rec park?
Oh.
You said that wasn't,
No, the fees for the summer camps.
no. I had started reading the fees, and you said that they were never approved.
The fees for the rec, not the rec park, those fees are in here, and they're the same as that are in here before. I said the camps that we approved last year, are they the same or different? I just don't know.
Okay. Well, we've got new camps as well.
I know we got new, but I'm just saying, I don't know what those numbers were last year. I didn't look them up.
They are increased a little because when we went through the whole thing about looking at all the fees and stuff, we had talked about raising these at that point, so, last year. So, do I need to make a
You
resolution?
should for the rec park, for the
rec
camps.
Park camps,
Just the camps.
summer camp,
Yeah, the two kinds of camps.
Right,
Got
right.
two different prices.
right.
Whatever they are, I don't know.
All right, so, this will be the summer camp, the typical summer camp that we have, as well as the proposed middle school camp and the possible basketball camp, which is a one-day thing. I'd like to be it resolved that the town board approve resolution number 2018 to adopt the fees for summer camp, the current fees for summer camp, for the middle school camp, and for the basketball camp.
What are those fees?
What are
And the fees are,
For summer camp, it's $75 per resident, $175 for...
Right, for summer camp, it's $75 per resident, and it is,
$175 for
once,
non...
yeah, thank you, you can read better than I can't see with these glasses, $175,
The dog shooter glasses.
Okay.
I'm sorry, per
Yeah.
week?
Per
or
week.
yes, per week.
Per
And-
child per week?
Right. And for this, actually, there's a swimming fee also, if they want to take lessons, that would be $25 a week. And then it would be for the
Swimming has typically been involved in their $75 fee, so now
Okay.
are they also, if they're taking swimming, there's an
additional,
fee?
someone can come and learn to swim without being in the
A
camp.
camper?
Okay.
Yes.
This
So
is-
campers are swimming, learning to swim as part of their $75 fee?
Yes.
That's how it's always been, that
Yes.
continues? But now we're charging people for swim lessons.
Someone could
So
come
that's
in
new, 'cause we
with
never
swim
have
lessons.
charged
Right,
before.
right. And then the fees for the new programs, basketball in the summer would be $75 for the week or the day, whichever the program specifies. And this is all,
And the middle school camp is what?
the middle
It's the
school
same.
camp is
Same.
75 also.
This
Oh,
is
so it's the same
Yeah.
price.
Right.
This is regular.
75, 175?
Yeah.
75 per resident
Right.
per week,
Yep,
175 per child.
Right.
Per week, non-resident.
Right.
right.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
All right, sorry for the confusion.
Okay. Now we're on to other items, resignation appointments. I don't think we have any, do we? Nope. Approval of warrants.
Make a resolution, be it resolved, the town board approves the June general fund warrant vouchers number 204 through 250A through N, totaling $26,805.26, and the June highway fund warrant vouchers number 110 through 128A, totaling $58,487.33. Is there a second?
Is there- all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Make a motion to approve the final version of the May 20th, May 2018 Supervisors Report.
Second.
Is there all in favor? Aye. Motion carried. This is the move funds, the balance out account codes and stuff. I make a motion to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approves resolution number of 2018, a motion to move funds at the June 12th, 2018 meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Any other business before the board? Okay, anybody wants to do public discussion? Joel, of course. I make a motion to open the meeting to public discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
I come bearing gifts.
How many trees are we saving?
Well, you gotta get the truth out somehow. When the other side stops using trees, then I'll stop using trees. But those two handouts are basically Joel Tyner, 324 Browns Pond Road. There's a bunch of letters that I circulated at last night's meeting of the county legislature, so that's one packet, and that enjoyed various degrees of success and support. And the other thing is this. It was actually 10 months ago in this room, board member Witten was here with me. We basically launched the de facto movement against Cricket Valley in Dutchess County, and there's well over 1,000 people in Connecticut and in Dutchess County who have signed on to the petition I launched. One thing is true now that was not true last year. Last year, the American Lung Association in New York State said that Dutchess County air quality was a C. It was just announced about 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, Dutchess County air quality is a D. I don't want to come before this board a year from now and say, oh, well, sorry, I'm doing the best I can. Dutchess County air quality is an F. I think a D is bad enough. There are literally tens of thousands of people all over Dutchess County with asthma, bronchitis, COPD, lung cancer. And so Joanna Fallert from the Stop Cricket Valley movement and the Dutchess County Progressive Action Alliance, she is joining me for a forum on this whole issue, not just about Cricket Valley, but also on Dutchess County air quality issues and the Dutchess County incinerator. And that's going to be 1 week from this Thursday, June 21st, 6 o'clock, Rhinebeck Town Hall. We're not just talking about the 200 tons of nitrogen oxide and 60 tons of volatile organic chemicals that's permitted to come out of Cricket Valley once it's operating. Hopefully that won't happen. Remember what happens when you mix the NOx and the VOCs? Ground level smog ozone. We're talking about what comes out of the Dutchess County incinerator as it is every year, 350,000 pounds of nitrogen oxides, because our incinerator is not fitted with the same pollution controls that other incinerators are, and 45,000 pounds of VOCs. There's another way. I just came from the Rhinebeck Village Board meeting, and I'm not going to say that they were necessarily screaming bloody murder, but maybe it was close to that, because I was talking about the county fund balance. And 2 years ago, the county fund balance was announced in May of 2016, $57 million. A lot of media coverage about that. Last May in 2017, it was announced $59.6 million Dutchess County fund balance, budget surplus. Money is left over at the end of the year. Just last Thursday, it's interesting, in July, not in June, not in June, not in May, but just last Thursday it was announced $55 million fund balance. That's how much we had left over at the end of last year, $55 million. Now you could say, well, Joel, there's a $480 million county budget. Maybe $55 million isn't that much. I'll just gently remind you that from 1996 through the end of 2012, for those 17 calendar years, on average, at the end of each year, usually there was about $20 million left over. You add up those 17 years, it was $340 million. It was up, it was down, but basically it was about $20 million left over at the end of each year from 96 through 2012. They changed the county sales tax revenue sharing formula. The rest is history. The county and the people running the county are sitting high on the hog. The county government flush. The coffers are flush. And I'm just relaying. I just withstood a bit of a barrage at the Rhinebeck Village Board meeting because they are upset and they justifiably and understandably would like to see they want their fair share of county sales tax revenue sharing. It might not be a bad idea for the Dutchess County Association of Supervisors and Mayors to tackle that issue head on. That's happened before. Also, it took a little bit of teeth pulling, but I just learned about, and this has been going on unfortunately for 5 or 6 years, the Dutchess County Agency Partnership, the Agency Partnership Grant Program, which unfortunately a lot of funding for nonprofits were pulled out of the November-December cycle, and basically it's a lot of secret stuff going on. Every year, there's about 700, 800, 900, sometimes $1 million worth of nonprofit funding requests that are rejected. I agree with the county executive, we have to think differently. To me, thinking differently means if there's a $55 million fund balance, you don't reject, a $39,000 request from the Down Syndrome Association of Hudson Valley for a reading tutor program or a balanced bike camp. You don't reject funding requests from the libraries for creating supportive environments for special needs patrons. You don't reject $41,000.
You don't have to read the whole list.
Right. Well, it's just, think differently. It's a lot of hypocrisy. It's a lot of hypocrisy. And the media is not reporting on it, so somebody needs to know about it. Right here in the town of Clinton, Skip Backus from Omega, for 2 or 3 years in a row, the annual Design by Nature conferences, he would play us a clip of Bobby Kennedy giving that speech. We just marked the 50th anniversary of his passing, when Bobby Kennedy was talking about the gross national product. So one of those letters that I circulated, and it's in your packet, talks about the fact that there are 20 states in the country, including Missouri, cities, towns, villages, counties, states that are doing a genuine progress index, because Robert Kennedy talked about how ridiculous the gross national product is. I would love your support on that. The only other thing I'll say is one of those letters is about veterans. I got some of my colleagues to sign on to my letter. I'm glad that the family caregiver program was recently expanded a little bit. Unfortunately, veterans who were injured between 1975 and 2001, they're still gonna have to wait 2 years to be eligible for the family caregivers program. And by the way, there's 318,000 appeals of VA benefits pending, on average wait of 935 days. For over a decade, I've been pushing for the hybrids for the county vehicle fleet. It used to be World War III each year. It's getting easier and easier. I'm glad to say that finally, 6 hybrids, part of the county vehicle bond last night. There should have been more as part of the sheriff's fleet. I also wanted to point out that right here in Northern Dutchess, there are people who can't get the help they need, and they go to Chatham. I had the Chatham Police Chief come to Family Partnership Center in Rhinebeck Town Hall on May 5th. He's coming back next Tuesday, June 19th, 7 p.m. at the Mental Health Building, 230 North Road. A mother who lives in Rhinebeck just called me a few days ago about her son. And the support system is not happening in Dutchess County. This is on the front page of the Poughkeepsie Journal Sunday, and that's part of the packet. But I really urge you, because yes, the Crisis Stabilization Center is diverting a lot of people. Yes, there's 350 law enforcement officials that have been trained in crisis intervention. But guess what? There's a lot of law enforcement officials that are still arresting folks with substance abuse issues, nonviolent, and there's about 40 or 50 of them sitting in the Dutchess County Jail right now. Many of them bail set at like $500, $1,000, and they can't get out. That's it. I'm at 876-2488. Thank you for your patience.
Thanks a lot, Joel. Somebody else has something they want to say? Bob?
And there's just,
You got to do it up here.
So, Bob Trzynski, Center Road. This is just informational for the board. Ray and I talked about this. Ray authorized or allowed me to do it, whatever. The library asked me to spec out a wireless microphone set, lavalier and stand-up mic for their use. They're going to pay for it when they decide to do it, but the whole board needs to know that I'll be up there mucking about and system integrating it. It fits. When I designed this, it has expansion capability, and that fits into that. Mm-hmm. But just wanted to let everybody know that I'll be doing that.
I think that purchase was approved.
It was approved,
I believe
okay.
so.
Yeah, and I haven't talked to Teresa, but we can get that going fairly quickly. But it does have to be system qualified, Ray. We've got to turn the system on as we're running right now and make sure there's no conflict with it. Yeah, because that, we don't want to find out during a board meeting.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I make a motion that the town board returns to regular order of business. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any more business? I make a motion that the town board adjourns the meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Thank you all.